Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good morning. Welcome back to day 2 of CREAFTA 2026. We hope you had a pleasant rest and are ready for another insightful day of academic exchange. For this second day, we will be holding the officiating ceremony followed by the keynote speaker address and plenary speaker session. My name is Norazah and I will be the host for today's event. On behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to extend our heartfelt appreciation for taking the time to join us on this special occasion. Your presence here today means a great deal to us and adds significance to this event. Once again, welcome and thank you for being with us. CREAFTA 2026 is a significant international platform for intellectual exchange aimed at showcasing innovative research, current industry practices, and pedagogical advancements in the field of creative arts. This conference serves as an interdisciplinary space that brings together postgraduate and undergraduate students as well as industry practitioners to present research findings, creative works, and academic perspectives that are critical and reflective in nature. Through strategic collaborations with leading institutions, both locally and internationally, CREAFTA 2026 aspires to foster cross-cultural dialogue and to strengthen Malaysia's position as a regional and international reference center in creative arts research, education, and development. Dear esteemed guests and participants, it is now my honor to invite our beloved Dean, whose leadership and commitment to academic excellence never cease to inspire our community. May I now invite her to deliver the opening remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Yang Berusaha Associate Professor Teknologi Dr. Wan Aidawan Yahya, Dean of the Faculty of Film, Theatre and Animation.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Greetings to all distinguished guests, honored keynote speakers, respected academics, industry leaders, creative practitioners, students, and esteemed participants. On behalf of the Faculty of Film, Theatre and Animation, Universiti Teknologi Mara, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the International Conference on Creative Practices in Film, Theatre and Animation, CREAFTA 2026. Your presence here today, from near or far, reflects a shared commitment to advancing knowledge, creativity and collaboration within the dynamic field of the creative arts. The Faculty of Film, Theatre and Animation, UiTM, is committed towards integrating creative practices with academic discourse. CREAFTA 2026 is envisioned as a significant international platform for intellectual exchange that brings together innovative research, contemporary industry practices, and progressive pedagogical approaches across creative disciplines. This conference is intentionally designed as an interdisciplinary and inclusive space, welcoming postgraduate and undergraduate students, earlier career researchers, senior academics, and industry practitioners. It provides opportunities to present research findings, creative works, and critical reflections that respond to current challenges, while anticipating future directions in film, theatre, animation, creative writing, and event practices. Through dialogue and exchange, we aim to nurture perspectives that are reflective, critical, and transformative. The themes of CREAFTA 2026 also reflects the urgent conversations in shaping the global creative landscape today. The first theme, Innovation in Creative Arts and Events, invites us to explore how emerging technologies and digital transformation are reshaping the way creative works are produced, presented, and experienced. Technologies such as artificial intelligence, virtual and augmented reality, motion capture, and interactive applications are no longer peripheral tools. They are redefining creative workflows, storytelling methods, and audience engagement. This theme also highlights the impact of digital transformation on event management and creative content, as well as the growing importance of cross-media and transmedia storytelling in contemporary practices. The second theme, Storytelling, Culture and Identity, foregrounds the vital role of creative narratives in preserving, reinterpreting, and promoting cultural identity on a global stage. Creative writing, performance, and visual storytelling serve not only as artistic expressions, but also as powerful mediums for cultural continuity and renewal. This theme encourages critical engagement with local heritage narratives within global publishing, production, and event contexts, while recognizing creative works and curated events as instruments of cultural diplomacy that strengthen influence and mutual understanding across borders. The third theme, Collaboration in Creative Industries and Events, speaks directly to the need for stronger partnerships between academia, industry, and creative communities. The creative ecosystem thrives on shared knowledge, resources, and expertise. Through academic industry collaborations in creative writing, publishing, event management, festivals, and other collaborative platforms, this theme highlights the importance of collective effort in expanding opportunities, enhancing professional practice, and fostering sustainable creative networks at both local and international levels. The fourth theme, Sustainability and Future Directions, addresses one of the most pressing concerns of our time. As creative professionals and scholars, we are increasingly called upon to adopt sustainable practices, embrace green technologies, and develop future-ready skills. This theme explores sustainable approaches in event production and publishing, the integration of environmentally responsible technologies in performances and creative projects, and the development of new competencies essential for writers, event managers, and creative industry professionals to remain resilient and relevant in the years ahead. The fifth theme, Creative Industry and Cultural Policy, focuses on fostering creativity, cultural expression, and sustainable growth through strategic support and regulation of the arts and creative sectors. Policy frameworks play a vital role in supporting innovation and cultural entrepreneurship while ensuring the sustainable growth of the creative economy. It is essential to balance economic development with the preservation of cultural identity, allowing creative practices to remain authentic yet globally relevant. Through strong collaboration between the government, industry, and community stakeholders, resilient creative ecosystems can be developed to support long-term innovation and inclusive growth in the creative arts. At its core, CREAFTA 2026 is guided by several key objectives. The conference aims to provide an internationally recognized academic platform for dissemination of research, scholarly discourse, and innovation in the creative arts. It seeks to strengthen collaborative research networks across academic institutions and creative industries at national and international levels. Furthermore, CREAFTA 2026 encourages scholarly publication and creative production, particularly in film, theatre, and animation, in support of Malaysia's aspiration to strengthen its position within the global creative landscape. I believe that the conference or conferences such as CREAFTA play a crucial role in shaping the future of education, research, and professional practice in the arts. By bringing together diverse perspectives, cultures, and disciplines, this platform allows us to challenge assumptions, explore new possibilities, and collectively contribute to the advancement of the creative arts. I would like to express my sincere appreciation to the organizing committee, our institutional partners, distinguished speakers, reviewers, and all participants for your dedication and support. Your contributions are vital to the success of this conference. I hope that the discussions, collaborations, and insights gained throughout CREAFTA 2026 will continue to inspire innovation and partnership long after the conference concludes. With that, it is my great pleasure and honor to officially welcome you to CREAFTA 2026. Thank you, and I wish you all a productive, beneficial, engaging, and inspiring conference.
Thank you, Dr. Wan Aida, for that insightful opening remarks. We will now begin the officiating ceremony. It is with great honor and privilege that we invite Yang Berbahagia Professor Teknologi Dr. Norazah Abdul Rahman, Deputy Vice-Chancellor Research and Innovation, Universiti Teknologi Mara, to officiate CREAFTA 2026.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, salam Malaysia Madani, salam UiTM di hatiku. Warm greetings to everyone. Alhamdulillah, all praise and gratitude be to Almighty Allah for His countless blessings and for granting me the opportunity to be with all of you today through this virtual platform. It is with great honor and privilege that I welcome all distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, respected academics, industry practitioners, and students to the International Conference on Creative Practices in Film, Theatre and Animation, CREAFTA 2026. Today marks a significant milestone as we officially inaugurate CREAFTA 2026. This conference stands as a testament to the unwavering commitment of the Faculty of Film, Theatre and Animation, FITA, Universiti Teknologi Mara in advancing the integration of creative practice with rigorous academic discourse through the organisation of conferences, symposia and scholarly workshops. CREAFTA 2026 is envisioned as a dynamic international forum that brings together innovative research, contemporary industry practices and progressive developments in creative arts pedagogy. CREAFTA 2026 is deliberately structured as an interdisciplinary platform, uniting postgraduate and undergraduate students, academics, researchers, and industry professionals. It provides a space for the presentation of research findings, creative outputs, and critical perspectives that are both reflective of current realities and responsive to future challenges. Through meaningful collaborations with reputable institutions at both national and international levels, CREAFTA 2026 aspires to nurture cross-cultural dialogue while reinforcing Malaysia's standing as a regional and global reference point for creative arts research, education and development. The rapid expansion of the creative industry today underscores the need for a platform that effectively bridges academia, industry and emerging talents. In addressing this need, CREAFTA 2026 serves as a strategic avenue for exchange of ideas, sharing of knowledge, and the formation of sustainable collaborative networks. It is our hope that such engagement will generate high-impact partnerships that contribute significantly to the advancement of the creative arts, not only nationally but also on the international stage. In line with this aspiration, CREAFTA 2026 aims to provide an internationally recognized academic platform for the dissemination of scholarly research, creative innovation, and critical discourse within the creative arts. The conference also seeks to strengthen collaborative research networks between academic institutions and industry players while encouraging high-quality publications and creative productions, particularly in the field of film, theatre and animation, in support of Malaysia's growing visibility in the global creative arts ecosystem. As we officially declare CREAFTA 2026 open, I urge all participants to fully engage with this conference to connect, communicate, collaborate, and to draw inspiration from the diverse ideas and contributions shared here. Let us embrace the opportunities for innovation in creative practices and the excitement of discovering new knowledge and perspective together. Once again, welcome to CREAFTA 2026. May this conference inspire meaningful dialogue, spark creative exploration, and ignite our collective passion for the arts. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Norazah, for that wonderful speech. Following the officiating ceremony, we will be privileged to hear the address by our distinguished keynote speaker. Before we begin, I would like to share a little bit of our esteemed guest's background. The speaker holds a PhD and MPhil from the University of Stirling, United Kingdom, and is a distinguished scholar in media studies, communication, cultural industries, and media policy. She has served multiple terms as head of department and has published extensively in high-impact international journals and books. She is also a recipient of numerous Excellence Service Awards and Best Paper Awards and has been invited as plenary speaker at many international conferences. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as we welcome our keynote speaker, Yang Berbahagia Professor Emeritus Dr. Azizah Hamzah from the Department of Media and Communication Studies, Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences, Universiti of Malaya. Let's give her a big round of applause.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning to everyone. I'm here in the podcast room at the Department of Media and Communication Studies, Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences, University of Malaya. Lovely to see you on screen at least. So I will be talking about the creative industry and cultural policy pertaining to, of course, to our situation here in Malaysia. Well, I would like to first say hi to Yang Berbahagia Professor Dr. Norazah Rahman, Associate Professor Dr. Angelo, Lenard EU, and Associate Professor Dr. Wan Aida Wan Yahya. Welcome to CREAFTA 2026. Such a well-sounding conference. Yeah? I wish you all luck and hope you have very fruitful discussions and hopefully culminating in a major book or major scopus papers, I hope. Okay. Right. I would like to first mention about the United Nations 2021 International Year of the Creative Economy for Sustainable Development. So we were all required and requested by the United Nations 2021 International Year of Creative Economy for Sustainable Development to hold conferences, to hold events that would help to commemorate the year. Yeah? So Malaysia and the ASEAN member states were all co-opted. We were all co-sponsors, and we were encouraged to observe the year in accordance with United Nations and with a special focus on our national priorities and experiences. So today, as you can see all over the world, the creative economy is recognized as one of the most powerful drives for national, social, and economic development of countries. You mentioned creative economy, and I think automatically we'll be thinking about the move from the well-known tracks in Hollywood, the well-known tracks in Europe, towards the Asian sector. You see countries in Asia, including Southeast Asian countries, are now performing very well in this area and creating very good opportunities for our young people to create and perhaps later to actually be able to generate income for our local industries as well as for the GDP of our country. that's the main concern now as well. And I stress this at almost every meeting that I have. I was in Phnom Penh, for example. I was doing online with the Australian universities, and everybody has recognized that today this is one of the most powerful tools for economic development as well as social development. All right, let's look at some of the meanings that are playing around in this field of creative economy, or you may even call it cultural industries. There are also some terms that are quite interchangeable. Yeah, for example, in this presentation, creative economy is also cultural industries activities. And I always feel that these are two terms that can be used interchangeably, right? So let me pull you towards the points of reflection of my presentation today. I have some concerns that I would wish to share with everyone here. And I would like to stress upon how our country, a very small country in Southeast Asia, being able, to dictate and also to make sure that our visuals and our stories are being told, and therefore we own our stories. For example, this is a very famous man. I'm sure you all in your UiTM would recognize him. It is to us, he's a towering Malay. Yeah? Tun Arsyad Ayub, Almarhum Tun Arsyad Ayub. He has done such wonderful things for UiTM. And his last posting was as the chairman of the University of Malaya Board of Directors. And he has such grand ideas for the development of the country, for the development of UiTM, and for the development of universities in Malaysia. So I was one of the editors for this book. We feel that we have to tell the real narratives of Tun Arsyad Ayub. We write everything, we research for about a year to get the true narratives that set Tun on this track of wonderful development for UiTM. So in short, what I'm saying is we have to own our own narratives. We have to own our own visuals so that our story gets to be told. And it's not seen through any other filter but our own filter from our own culture and from our own social development in Malaysia. As I mentioned just now, it is apparent that cultural production all over the world is the main playing field for high-end global commerce in the 21st century. It is so important because cultural industries mine cultural knowledge and transfer it in the form of goods and services that are laden with social and cultural meaning. That's why it is important for us to control the narrative. And if you study the Malaysian government, actually, we have been quite steadfast with that objective of controlling our own narratives to ensure that it is a Malaysian story. Nobody has other ownership to the stories except us in Malaysia. All right? I will also be touching about how our government especially appreciate the creative industries. Mainly because I think it's profitable now. Mainly because it's supposed to generate towards our GDP. And so it is that segment of economy that is involved in the creation, narration, storytelling, and towards manufacturing, towards production, towards broadcast and distribution of copyright and protected materials. That's why we have to claim ownership for all these materials, yes, to make sure that our story comes across. If it is profitable at the end of it, well, wonderful then, yeah? All right. So, in order for us to have a very robust cultural industry, our leaders, since the very beginning, since our independence, yeah, they have laid down certain areas, certain tracks that would be helping the people, especially at the levels where they are going to produce. They are going to even sell if possible. So they laid down all the policies since independence. And Malaysia is famous for all the development policies. Yeah, we have been very, very well managed in a sense from the very beginning until now. At some point, I will be sharing with you the 2026 budget for the cultural cultural development and towards the creative economy that is being approved in our parliament. Yeah. Okay. In addition, I will be talking about policies that are involved. Yeah, that are really thought of in a very, very detailed form. Yeah, towards regulating our cultural area by the various state operators in Malaysia. Yeah, and as I said, towards the end of my presentation, I would need to show you how we are slowly shifting. Our cultural industry is slowly shifting towards what I call culture digital in Malaysia. So that is the gist of what I'll be touching upon in the next few minutes. Yeah. If you recall, I did mention just now the top 5. The high-end global commerce. So what I've got here is some literature review about the top 5 high-end global commerce. I would like to just mention in passing, for example, food and personal care at the value of USD 791 billion. Fashion, USD 1.2 trillion. And of course, electronics and media, USD 773 billion. So this is the kind of, you can imagine the level of commerce that is involved in our area of creative industries, creative economy, and cultural industries. Yeah, if we are able to manage it, it would be bringing some form of income, some form of contribution to our national economy. So I would say that when we talk about creative industries, when we talk about creative economy, we basically have to admit that we are talking about creating a profitable business of culture. It might sound rather, too much emphasis on profit, but I think we might as well ensure that whatever we do is profitable. All right. We will as part of our the activities that are quite important in the business of creative economy. We must remember that it includes arts and crafts, architecture, design, film, video, photography, music, performing arts, publishing, gaming, and of course television and radio. For this presentation, I'll be showing some slides about the very positive development in our film industry. I'm very happy because if you think about film industry, please remember our national icon, Almarhum P. Ramlee, and the wonderful cultural products that are enjoyed even till now giving a good idea of our culture, of our social interactions, of our multi-ethnic society are all captured in stories by our iconic P.Ramlee. While I was doing my research, for example, in the United Kingdom, there are some similarities that I could see between what our country has developed as well as what the Labour government, for example, in UK, has developed for the creative industries. They go through various levels of economic rationalization, commodification of culture, and of course new conservatism in the policies of the government. Yeah? So we have, for example, the Scottish policy on culture, where the local government is very supportive towards all kinds of activities in, and they are patronage of the arts, in the patronage of the arts. They have the Film Festival of Edinburgh, and they have a very good centers of research to develop and support the government, especially the Labour government, during, for example, the few Labour governments that were, succeeding the government in UK. So the intention is just like Malaysia, is to provide artistic and the source of direction, the source of planning from our people who are helping, from the government, from top down from the government to the arts and craft people, to our local artists. You remember during COVID-19, most of them were not able to find any work because of the problems in the movement control. So the government immediately came out with plans to really get to the artistic people that are being impacted, for example, by COVID-19, yeah, movement control, right? So what I also would like to mention that in trying to transform our policy, the government, especially in our the digital economy, for example, they go hand in hand with the communication ministry to really come up with plans for the transformational policies in creative industries. All do safeguard the creative content of our nation. Yeah? Support between the partnership between the tech people, the creative thinkers, the artists, for example. We have very clear transformational agenda towards the digital Malaysia. So what makes Malaysia such a unique country? What makes us unique and rich in our culture? It's our cultural policy. It has been there and it has been put in place by the government, very well managed, very well thought of. Yeah? Because the arts, you remember that the arts inspire the people. Yeah? So the arts inspire and provide skills. If you have the proper training, maybe at FITA, maybe at our faculty here, we will be training our young people to be very, very professional photographers, professional journalists, professional filmmakers, very well trained towards, so that we have very critical mindset, we have very creative mindset, and come out with the cultural products that we can be proud of. So I think the Malaysian creative economy is put right on track. There are various incentives, there are various government plans and all that, yeah? And we are able, for example, the Department of Statistics Malaysia, the cultural and creative industry contributed to about 6.8% to the nation's gross domestic product, which is equal to about roughly RM 130.7 billion in Malaysia. And if we have the proper management, the proper thinking, the proper tracks, I think our creative cultural industries will be on the right track, and we will be at par later, I hope, with the other major powerhouses in the world. Yeah, that's my personal belief and hope.
The Malaysian creative ecosystem has identified 10 tangible and intangible artistic or creative outputs. We have the traditional forms, for example, the genre of literature, performing arts, music, and also a very important area or discipline in our area of studies, which is film, TV, screen studies. And of course, now we are moving towards gaming, content, animation, and so on. And it has been rather successful years for Malaysian animation. There's also the area of gastronomy. You want to talk about the delights from the East Coast, for example, the royal cuisine in the states of Kelantan, in the states of Terengganu, for example. And also we have traditional and cultural arts from the East Coast, as well as from Sabah, Sarawak. Such a delight to see the various expressions from the people. And it is enjoyed by almost the global marketplace. For example, the areas in Sabah, Sarawak, the Borneo side of Malaysia. Yeah, these are potential areas to be developed further, because there's certainly a lot of promise from this from outputs of these various content, creative content in our country. From such a rich ecosystem, there is a natural inclination to focus on policies in value creations. So what has been our past? We have been always rooted in the cultural policies since from the onset at promoting our diversity and preserving a rich cultural heritage. For example, we began with the cultural institutions, the National Museum, the National Art Gallery, and the cultural centers. We also began developing a master plan in our national cultural policy from the 1970s to foster national unity and in appreciation of the various ethnic cultures and languages, while recognizing the importance of Malay culture as the foundation. Language preservation in promotion of Malay language, as well as preservation of linguistic diversity. The creative industry development has this aim of supporting our artists, our filmmakers, and promotion of creative sectors as part of our ecosystems. Therefore, I feel that it's rather natural for our government to maintain control over our value creations, our stories, our visuals, as I mentioned earlier. During the post-war World War II, all developing nations, newly independent nations, seek policies of decolonization and embark on plans for nationalism. Government plays the role of the driver of development, departing from receiving, for example, receiving the one-way flow of content, of very simple news and the flow of news from the first world to the third world, for example. UNESCO has always been assisting developing nations to have their own system, to have their own, to develop their own areas in journalism, for example. Yeah, and the government sees itself as the stimulator of new creative ideas and technologies to provide knock-on effect on nation's economy. With the firm belief that culture is for public good. A remarkable example in the policy implementations, we can see it in the film industry. These are initiatives supported by finance and other industry initiatives producing products like Mat Kilau, Kebangkitan Pahlawan in year 2022, also Police Evo 3 in 2023. And from last year, there is a succession of very good quality products output from the film industry. You have Agent Ali the movie, Papa Zola the movie, Malam Terlarang, White, Syurga Dalam Botol, and Kifara. And you can also see from this table, for example, collections for Mat Kilau in 2022 at RM 97.4 million. Also, Agent Ali, as you can see, 62 million ringgit. Papa Zola, the movie, 54.9 million. So these are very successful products from our movie makers. So there is this interesting observation that East or West, home is still best, as you can see, the performance of these movies in comparison with some of the Marvel movies that have been flooding our market. In the effort to further advance our cultural policy, the government has initiated a transformational policy for the creative industry. There's a lot of attention given on the promotion of cultural products, on the aspect of training and education, creation of Malaysian Creative Industry Fund, the creative industry policy, digital content initiatives, public partnerships, private partnerships. Another clear indicator of support for arts and culture is obvious in the budget 2025. For example, in the sector of language and literature, they were allocated RM 50 million. For firms, RM 65 million. And cultural arts and crafts, an allocation of RM 800 million. And of course, the cultural heritage landmarks were given RM 600 million for major refurnishing, for example, the Sri Karkosa, beautiful colonial landmarks. Currently, we are witnessing a focus on new ecosystems. There is an obvious shift to culture digital. Our culture policy is shifting towards digital integration. by the introduction of various strategies and adaptations. As you can see listed here are some of the various shifts: digital content strategy, cultural policy adaptation, cultural heritage digitization, online platforms for promotion, digital literacy and training, collaboration with tech companies, and of course, regulatory framework for distribution of rights. Okay. The pandemic taught us a very valuable reminder, very valuable lesson. We need to shift from the traditional face-to-face to a digitally connected, tech-driven society. We need new business and innovation platforms, for example, e-commerce, streaming, and to suit with the changing lifestyles. One area that is gaining traction now is the development of Islamic creative economy. Malaysia is leveraging its position as leader in halal economy to develop, for example, Islamic theme creative content in fashion industry, in films, and so on. So we are actually paving towards creation of cultural value ecosystem. The Malaysian government takes a top-down policy approach in creative economy, prioritizes creative content from all perspectives, developing new ecosystems, which we continuously sought to create employment creation, economic growth, and national exports. Thus, the policy of integration of the arts, creative economy, and intellectual property is rather important. So in conclusion, all are focused on ensuring Malaysia maintains our creative and competitive edge. I thank you for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Professor Emeritus Dr. Azizah. Our next speaker is a respected academic whose work has significantly contributed to Philippine ethnocultural and indigenous studies. With numerous publications and research recognitions to his name, he brings valuable insights to today's discussion. He is a scholar of literature and culture with strong research interests in Philippine ethnocultural studies, indigenous studies, post-colonial theory, eco-criticism, and gender studies. He has also published extensively in Scopus and CHED-accredited journals with notable work on Mindanao folk narratives and indigenous knowledge systems. This speaker has received multiple Best Research Paper and Best Oral Presentation awards at national and international conferences. He also serves as a program head, journal editor, and accredited research expert. Please join me in welcoming our plenary speaker, the Honorable Associate Professor Dr. Angelo Lenard, EU, from College of Arts and Sciences, University of Southeastern Philippines.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I am Angelo Lenard from the University of Southeastern Philippines, and I am here with you today to share one of our creative practices here in Mindanao. I have here the paper titled The Legend of Durian, Performance Ethnography of a 3-act musical play through Bagobo Tagabawa Cultural Identity and Heritage in Mindanao, Philippines. Let us start with Bagobo Tagabawa people and their land. The Bagobo Tagabawa originally settled in Sibulan, Santa Cruz, Davao del Sur, formerly called Subuan, is named after the Sibulan River. Primarily, they are known for growing durian fruit. The abundance of their harvest is believed to be a result of blessings from Manama, their deity. Bagobo Tagabawa permanently lived in Banwa, their ancestral domain from birth to death. For every indigenous group, their ancestral land is not merely their homeland, but also the home of their traditions, identity, history, cultural and spiritual practices, languages, and health systems. Mount Apo, the Philippines' highest mountain, surrounded by a diverse range of ecosystems, is home to several indigenous groups, including the Bagobo Tagapawa. For centuries, they have lived in its shadow, maintaining a deep connection to the mountain and its surrounding areas. Let us look durian in a global landscape. Durian grows in Southeast Asia, where at least 30 species have been found. Believed to have originated in Borneo, the durian is native to Malaysia and Indonesia and is also grown in Thailand and the Philippines. In these countries, as well as in Singapore and most recently China, it is much beloved. Malaysians proudly refer to it as Raha Segala Buah, or the king of all fruits. Farmers do not pluck this fruit from the tree, but wait for it to fall to the ground when it is ready to be eaten. There are nevertheless varying personal preferences. Some people like dry durian meat, while others prefer softer, mushier ones. The being of the durian, a dry one, a mushy one, testifies to the ontological plurality of the fruit. It is not only the physical difference that matters, but the relation of the difference in material characteristics with taste. Now, let me read to you the Bagobo Tagabawa version of the legend of Durian. There was once an influential and renowned Datu in Kalinan who had inviolable riches and influence. However, he was old and ugly. Despite his prominence and wealth, there was one thing he could never obtain: the love of the young and beautiful princess. As the Datu loved her greatly, he was determined to win the princess' love. With the counsel of his wife and trusted adviser, the Dato set out to seek the help of an old hermit believed to be half mortal and possessed of great powers. The old hermit agreed to help the Dato and tasked him to acquire 3 magical ingredients. After a long and challenging journey, with the help of a sea turtle and an air nymph, the Datu succeeded in his quest. Using 3 ingredients, the old hermit created a magical mixture. The Datu planted the mixture, which grew into a tree bearing a mystical fruit that enchanted the princess. However, the Datu forgot to invite the old hermit to their celebration of success and happiness. Angered by the Datu's ungratefulness, the old hermit cursed the magical fruit, covering it in thorns and giving it a foul smell. Then it became durian, a fruit that smells like hell but tastes like heaven. The legend of durian and its creative process into a 3-act musical play. This creative process is grounded in Dwight Conquergood's theory of performance ethnography, drawing also on insights from Victor Turner and Richard Schrittner to understand and analyze the communal role of the legend of Durian in Bagobo Tagabawa society, which their specific cultural context as well as its adaptation into theatrical performances. This approach emphasizes performative aspects of storytelling, including the relationship between storytellers and audience, the embodied nature of narrative transmission, and the cultural meanings embedded in storytelling practices. Herewith is the field immersion in the Bagobo Tagabawa community. In order for the performers as well as the directors and the advisor to understand Bagobo Tagabawa, we need to technically see the life and works of the Bagobo Tagabawa community in their ancestral domain. First, we have understanding performance as cultural practice. At the core of performance ethnography is the idea that oral narratives are cultural practices. Storytelling is not merely means of transmitting information or entertainment. It is performative act rooted in tradition, values, and collective memory. Each performance reflects the norms, beliefs, and power structure of the community in which it occurs. That is the main reason why, as what you could see in the photo, the performers, the directors, the transcribers, and even the technical advisor was able to listen to the Datu when he talks about their community. Next, we have embodiment and gesture. We carefully try to understand gestures, facial expressions, posture, movement, rhythm, and even vocal modulation in the community. It is crucial towards the adaptation that we are going to do in the theatrical play. These embodiment elements contribute to audience engagement and help convey emotional depth, symbolism, and cultural nuance that may not be captured through language alone. As what you could see in the photo in front of you, all of us was able to observe how the Balian, the princess of the community, was able to put up gestures, facial expressions, and even acts in front of us. That is how we tried to manifest the things in the community. We also mastered audience reception. Storytelling is viewed as a dynamic interactive process than a one-way transmission. Audience respond to attention, emotion, verbal reactions, or even silence. That's the reason why when you could see in the photo, we carefully listen to the dato as he speaks. All those gestures, all those things, how the conversation happens and how the audience react during that conversation, we need to technically embrace these emotional responses in order for us to master the adaptation that we are going to do later on for the Durian Legend. Meaning is therefore constructed, negotiated in real time between performer and audience, making its storytelling even unique. Well, at that juncture, we now go to the adaptation and transformation in everything that we have observed in the community. And sometimes they let us participate in the rituals that they have. We try to imbibe all those things so that when we do it in the adaptation and transformation, when we try to practice it in our theater arts room, we can technically embrace how the community were able to perform their acts. The process of adaptation and transformation involves reinterpretation and even doing creative choices that can technically alter meaning, form, and emphasis. But because we've been to the community, we technically have that engagement with them, we were able to somewhat reflect and mimic their perspectives, their gestures, and even their ontological ways of being. With that, it helps us with that concept of authenticity, representation, cultural appropriation, and even how we're gonna reshape the story itself in accordance to the culture of the Bagobo Tagabawa. And that is how we try to do the stage performance. Eventually, we had our performing arts workshop together with the National Commission Culture and the Arts expert, because he was able to tell us how it is done up on stage. As someone who's doing creative practice, it is an honor to be with someone who is in the field for so long. And we really appreciate this time. All my performers, me as someone who direct, who's someone who is in vibe with theater acting, I was able to appreciate the moment that there was critiquing and evaluation of the art that we've done. And I think this is the value of performance ethnography. It now highlights how oral narratives function within communities and how they evolve when adopted for a theatrical play. Well, let us now go from field to stage, transforming the legend of Durian into a theatrical musical play. Transcription is really a big part of it. When we transform this particular story, we need the help of the participant, the Datu himself, in order for us to put it in a writer's perspective. That's the reason why when we have that oral tradition, we were able to come up with the first draft of our musical play. So that's what exactly transpired in the beginning of its transformation into a theatrical play. We become very selective as well in terms of looking for the performers and how they are going to act. In fact, they cannot be there if they were not able to go with us in the community. So number two is identification of narrative elements. The use of dynamic storytelling through careful selection of characters and their characterization, including the use of appropriate language used of a musical flair. Theme and identification. The technical advisor focused on costumes and traditions, with emphasis on the process of courtship to marriage in the Durian legend. It is also important for us to have the character plot setting analysis. The written script employed actual and real events from the perspective of the research participants. That's the reason why even in the costume, we have the Datu who assisted us, because he really don't want us to commit mistake even in how we fold, on how we try to put up the attire in front of the audience. So that is technically what we've done during the theatrical transformation of this particular oral tradition. Next is staging considerations. A realistic musical presentation was considered in embrace the sound of nature in the theatrical play. So we mimic what we have heard in the community through these musical instruments that we have. These are improvised musical instruments in order for us to come up with the natural sound of nature during our performance. And that's what we've done during that creative process. Eventually, we have that interpretation and analysis. The sustainability of the local heritage was one main goal with the observance of a logical and cohesive presentation of oral narratives in the stage. Technically, this is how our creation goes. The moment that we try to deeply understand the concept of Bagobo Tagabawa and the oral tradition, the legend of Durian that they have shared with us. Well, that performance was watched by many scholars around the world during the first Tingog International Conference, that is the Voices of Ancestry, Safeguarding Indigenous Cultural Heritage and Oral Tradition. And we were able to also show them the process of creating this theatrical play from field to stage. Well, allow me to give you a snippet of the creative work by giving you some clips in these particular videos.
Mga ulap, lilipan ng hangin, uri ng mga ibon, naglalakbay sa papawid, kay sarap mabuhay, sa ilalim ng nag-iisang mundong makulay. Sayaw, tumatayong langit, kay raming dahilan, upang matiwag tayo ay isa, ng langit mapakatigasan at
We even try to translate the legend of Durian into 46 different languages. So we have a lot of creative process, no? Translation and even is even one. And even in Kapandayan, a journey to the wisdom of the selected IP groups in the Davao region. Part of it is also Durian legend. So we have series of transformation, theatrical play, translation, and even understanding the ontology, axiology, and epistemology of the indigenous people, putting that one in Kapandayan, no? The wisdom. Eventually, in the creative process, we've read a lot of articles from Southeastern Philippines Journal of Research and Development, and it helped us a lot because it has given us some ideas, some thoughts and ideologies on how to understand deeper our cultural heritage here in Mindanao. So some of the articles that you could have was used as references in this particular creative work. So that ends my presentation for today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Angelo and esteemed speakers for their insightful and inspiring addresses. Ladies and gentlemen, this marks the conclusion of CREAFTA 2026. We would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to all presenters for their engaging and well-delivered presentations. The ideas shared throughout this two-day conference have sparked meaningful discussions, inspired new perspectives, and significantly enriched our collective knowledge. On behalf of the organizing committee, we would like to express our sincere appreciation to all speakers, presenters, session chairs, and participants for your valuable contributions and support. Assalamualaikum, thank you, and have a safe journey home.